Good afternoon. It's delightful to be here, and I would like to sincerely thank the UTS team for all of their hard work in organising this conference. Today, I'm going to discuss with you what I have been recently researching. This particular topic pertains to deepfakes and the challenges that artificial intelligence presents in the context of Australian copyright law. Now, let's start by watching this short video, which caught my attention last year.
Tom Cruise has become a viral hit on TikTok, or has he? So the account Deep Tom Cruise has been posting videos featuring what looks like the Mission Impossible star. Wow, there he is taking a swing on a golf course. Here it is. In reality, the videos are likely deep fakes of the actor, which is when an image is digitally replaced on another person. You be the judge. Watch.
I'm going to show you some magic. It's the real thing. I mean, it's all the real thing.
Whoa, we're officially in the future.
Dude!
So what do you think? Here's real Tom on the left, fake Tom on the right. Can you see the difference? That's crazy. This scares me. The technology today could set someone up for such a dangerous fall where what if you don't know?
What if it's, I've always thought this, what if it's like the nuclear code situation? I'm not just saying this could send people to war.
So as you can see, we're now living in this brave new world where seeing is not necessarily believing. This raises many legal, moral, ethical, political, and of course, national security implications of the use of deepfake technology. Now, last year, this particular deepfake provoked terror in the heart of US intelligence and national security circles because it was so realistic. And apparently this clip, which was created by a graphic designer at home with his computer, was able to fool every single publicly available deepfake detection technology. So it's really something. What is deepfake technology? The term comes from the words deep learning and fake, and it's said to have originated from an anonymous user of Reddit who was named Deepfakes and who shared the very first deepfake videos, which depicted celebrities in adult film clips. So what we can take away from this is that deepfakes were initially used for malicious purposes, and they indeed still are, with up to about 93% of currently produced deepfakes for pornography. When they first appeared a few years ago, it was fairly apparent upon viewing them that they were not real. They didn't look real. However, with advances in technology, it's becoming much harder to be able to differentiate between what is real and what is fake. The technology is also becoming much more easily accessible, so more people are able to create this type of content at very low cost. And what is disturbing about this is that the commercial and entertainment potential of deepfakes are starting to be explored in a serious way. So we're seeing things like the faces of famous people such as Scarlett Johansson, Katy Perry, and politicians such as Obama and Trump, who have been transplanted without their permission onto the bodies of actors. So these high-profile people have seemingly said and done things that they have not in real life. In 2017, there was a video of President Obama, and it was titled Synthesizing Obama, and it showcased the use of lip syncing technology, which was taken from existing audio footage. And here on this particular slide, you can see the original video for input audio and the result there. And another very famous deepfake involved Kim Kardashian, and we're going to discuss that later because it was the subject of copyright infringement and it was ultimately taken down from YouTube. So what's astounding is that deepfakes are created through the use of a relatively new type of artificial intelligence. The Tom Cruise deepfake was made entirely from scratch, and it has been described as a product of both art and science. The process involved a Belgian graphic artist named Chris Oom, who collaborated with Miles Fisher, who is known as the world's best Tom Cruise lookalike and impersonator. Now, what happened was that Miles Fisher acted out the scenes for the camera, and he utilized his acting skills to emulate Tom Cruise's voice and mannerisms. And after this, graphic artist Chris had to develop an artificial intelligence model to replace the actor's face with Tom Cruise's face. And because Miles, the actor, looks so similar to Tom, this apparently made the artificial intelligence process much easier, and it saved time. So Chris went and collected source data, which was over 6,000 still photographs of Tom. And that, of course, raises issues of potential copyright infringement. These images were taken from varying angles and with all sorts of different facial expressions. So it was essentially a massive data set that he produced. And he then used what is called a generative adversarial network, which are two types of neural networks. So these are computer algorithms which mimic the way that our brains work. These neural networks learn from each other and they adapt, and they are actually pitted against each other to be trained and to engage in a training process. So one network creates the fakes and the other network grades the efforts. And so this teaches the synthesis engine to create better forgeries. This particular training process took over 2 months to finally build a computer model, which was the rough video. And then it took Chris dozens of hours to edit and remove the glitches frame by frame with the use of digital graphics software. Now let's consider the relationship here between the creation of deepfake video and Australian copyright subsistence. When considering whether deepfakes could be protected under Australian copyright, such a work is likely to fall under various heads of copyright as either a Part 3 or a Part 4 work. So protection under the Copyright Act may include, for video or moving images, they can be considered films under Part 4 as per Galaxy Electronics. Manipulated or synthesized voice is considered a sound recording. A new synthesized image of a person could be considered a computer-generated artistic work. And then the underlying source code or the algorithms for deepfake could be considered a literary work, which is the set of statements or instructions to be used directly or indirectly in a computer in order to bring about a certain result. And that is under Section 10 of the Copyright Act. Now, apart from being either a Part 3 or a Part 4 work, there are other subsistence requirements that have to be met. So, for example, the first publication must have occurred in Australia as per Section 32, subsection 2 and Section 90, depending on the actual work. The author or the maker must be a qualified person as per Section 32, Section 89 and 90. The work has to be reduced to a tangible form as per Section 22, and of course, originality must be found. So what this is, the work must have originated with a human author and must not have been copied. An author has to demonstrate sufficient, quote, independent intellectual effort as per ICE-TV and Nine Network. And we heard about this issue in the previous speech when Daniela spoke about this at length. Now, the issues of originality and authorship present great challenges in the context of deepfake. And the problem here is whether the process that the generative adversarial network undertakes, so that is that process where the two types of neural networks train each other, results in human authorship being held to be too far removed for copyright to subsist. Now, this issue is highly debatable. It might be argued that the neural networks have been programmed by a person to perform most of the tasks automatically, and that therefore the distinction between human contribution and machine output is severed. And this raises issues pertaining to the formal and informal organizational rules of data input, because there have been some copyright cases post the seminal 2009 case of ICE TV where authorship has indeed failed. Human contributors have been found to display limited and often highly constrained antecedent input, which has been insufficient to satisfy authorship due to a lack of this independent intellectual effort. And this may well be the case when we consider the process involving deepfakes. Does it really truly demonstrate independent intellectual effort by a person? It is, however, suggested that the painstaking efforts of editing and removing those glitches frame by frame through the use of digital graphic software would likely qualify as sufficient authorship. But as to whether the steps which precede that could constitute sufficient human authorship is highly debatable. Now, if authorship fails, originality fails due to the need to originate with a human author, and therefore copyright fails. So copyright will not subsist. If copyright cannot subsist, there can be no moral rights which attach to the work either. Now, under the Act, an author is granted 3 rights in Australia. There's attribution of authorship, there's the right against false attribution, and there's the integrity of authorship. Now, on the 29th of May 2019, a deepfake video of Kim Kardashian was uploaded to YouTube by the anti-advertising activist called Brandalism. The original video, which had been used to create the deepfake, was owned by the publisher Condé Nast from a video uploaded by the publisher's Vogue magazine. The deepfake was removed from YouTube after Condé Nast submitted a copyright infringement takedown notice to YouTube. In the US, this scenario raises an interesting issue because they have a much broader scope of fair use exceptions, whereas here in Australia we have fair dealing provisions. It could have been argued that the deepfake should fall under fair use in the US because it is sufficiently transformative in nature. However, in Australia, such an argument is likely to fail because our fair dealing provisions are much narrower in scope than the US fair use exceptions. In conclusion, we've entered a new world where there is the potential for an information apocalypse, where seeing is no longer believing. Deepfakes are starting to become quite commercialized, and I think this is a must-watch space. It's a complex and nuanced topic, and the full implications from a legal, social, political, geopolitical, and technological point of view are not yet known. What is clear is that there will be impediment upon the ability of those who wield power to be held to be accountable for their actions, with questions swirling from all of us as to what is real and what is fake. Technologists believe that we're heading for a future where the general public will feel that they simply cannot trust what they see or even hear. With the explosion of deepfakes, fake news, and the potential for anyone to manipulate and synthesize voice, video. The pace of professionally made deepfakes are doubling every 6 months, and experts are predicting that by the year 2030, up to 90% of online videos could be synthetically generated and very difficult to tell whether they're real or fake, which is quite a disturbing thought indeed. These new technologies could also allow those who are powerful to blame and indeed use deepfake technology as an excuse for real-life wrongs. The very existence and widespread knowledge of this technology has the potential to create such doubts that what we see is fake, that this will potentially muddy everyone's perception of the world. It will make navigating through everyday life even more difficult than ever. As to how Australian law and copyright eventually responds to such challenges remains to be seen. In concluding, I hope that you found this presentation very thought-provoking, and I thank you for listening.